let's talk about Riley's first date. This is kind of until the recent Inside Out 2, which I have not seen when I'm making this. So I don't know if this like fits into Inside Out 2 in any way. However, this is kind of the only real follow-up since then. It was directed by Josh Cooley, who would go on to direct Toy Story 4, and obviously is directing a Transformers movie later this year, actually. This was released on the DVD and Blu-ray as an extra, and then eventually went to Disney Plus and stuff like that. It was sort of an extra sort of thing. It never played in theaters. This is different in that it starts like a guy comes over, and her parents react to it as a date. It's sort of like not clear if it is, and the whole thing isn't from Riley's perspective, despite that it is her titular first date or whatever. There's the element of this that I don't like is that it's from the heads of the emotions of her mom and dad, and they feel sort of off in this. But I think it comes from a place of real relatability, which I think speaks to why Josh Cooley is a good director. Like, he understands, like, well, I have to make some sort of a point with this, some sort of a personal point with it, and I actually think he does. But the problem with it is Inside Out works because we see Riley's perspective. I'm not watching Inside Out to see her stupid parents' perspective. Like, I don't care. I know everyone brings up that, like, anger is piloting the dad, and I think isn't sadness piloting the mom or something. Like, that is depressing when you really think about it. But I don't really love their perspectives necessarily, because it's like, oh, this boy and I hate this guy and stuff like that. I don't like the whole like let's hate son-in-law and stuff like that. I think that's kind of, it's a little pathetic, you know. It's like I think Josh Cooley, when I was reading about this, like the whole idea is her date comes over to pick her up, her parents are freaking out in their heads and stuff, and her dad sits down with the boy, and the mom goes up to see Riley. And when the boy's there, I forget his name, like Jordan or something. Anyway, and this does have all the original voices, by the way. But the Josh Cooley start off is that when he first met his father-in-law, he was obviously standoffish, and father-in-laws are usually scared. I have a cool father-in-law. He was standoffish until Josh Cooley told his father-in-law he was in a band, and they both started to connect as father-in-law and son-in-law over their love of this. He actually really thought about like what band unites everyone, and he was talking about how he went to an AC/DC show and there were 7-year-olds and there were grandparents behind him, and how like it wasn't just like, I think oftentimes when AC/DC's in a movie it's like default band, and he was like, no, I want AC/DC because I went to a show and it unites generations, and it would make sense if you have this guy who's a teenager and this guy in his 40s, that they would both like AC/DC. Now I do actually think like, I don't know, I think sometimes like boomers and young people are like, oh, kids like my music, and it's like they don't, but like whatever. But I do think that is a real moment of relatability in it. However, I think this is a dorky little dumb short. I think it sort of betrays the property because it should be shown from Riley's perspective. It shouldn't be from her parents. I don't think it has enough of a reason to switch perspectives in this. I sort of don't think it works. It feels like an unnatural progression of the story and not a natural one. And especially that we don't really know, like we sort of think she likes him, but it's like not a date. And like stuff like it feels like it's the parents will tell their friends that it was the first date, but it wasn't. But I'm like, I don't watch Inside Out to hear that. So anyway.